bit about that. Is that the word I want to use? Oh, wow. Well, guys, look at our new backdrop.
Wow. It's so magical.
Hi, Auntie Faye. Okay. Oh, this is good. I feel like let's start with the intro of what this backdrop is and then get in.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So, guys, this is our new backdrop, and it is incredibly beautiful for a number of reasons. One being that, thank you. One being that after Papa transitioned, an uncle came. Hey, Sarah. An uncle came and bought us a huge canvas and brought a whole bunch of paints and said, everybody paint. So nieces, nephews, aunties, uncles, grandmother, or Bobby, everybody painted. So that was really dope. And it is now up on the wall.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love it.
Me too.
I mean, I immediately saw it on the wall and I was like, I want us to be in front of it. It's so wonderful.
And she tried to get, she was like, oh, well, you know, we could do this. We could do that. Anyways, that, this was really cool. And Zach, I'm shouting you out. I really, really, really appreciate you, brother, so much. That was so heartfelt. And I know you didn't mean to leave it at my house, but you did. So.
Is that why you didn't want to take it out earlier?
Yeah.
I can't show.
No, but they were
Zach.
taking forever, though. Like, they were taking forever. I'm like, all right, they're not coming to get this. So, okay, hello. I'm Sheena Blade.
I'm Casey Valentine.
And this is Comfortably Uncomfortable. So uncomfortable. A show where we go all the way in and tell all the way the truth about things that people aren't always talking about.
That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what we haven't talked about
What?
in a couple of days? Our book.
We wrote a book. What?
What's that? You want to know what it's called? Oh,
Good question.
yeah.
Piss off, old paradigms. We were supposed to do that in unison, but sometimes we, you know.
Well, I heard them asking me
No,
more
it's
questions.
true, and then I was like-
listening because you guys wanted to know where to get the book and what it's about. So I was like, oh, we got to answer their questions.
Thank you. This just in. This just in. You're gonna have to go on Amazon to grab the book if you want the. That doesn't make any sense. If you want to read it on paper. But we also have something called the Bookcast that I do recommend you go and listen to. What's a bookcast? Did you hear that?
It's an audiobook plus a podcast equals a bookcast where you can listen to your favorite books for free. So check it out.
What?
On Amazon or Spotify, type in Piss Awful Paradigms.
Piss off, old paradigms.
And listen to us.
You guys are gonna keep hearing the piss off, old paradigms or piss off, old paradigms. Ooh. They probably want to know what the book is about, though.
Yeah, okay, yes.
Yeah. Because there was a lady that was like, what's the book about? And I was like, duh. Miserable. And then I was like, oh, that was rude. We didn't actually say what the book is about.
So, like 6 months ago, or like last year, I met Sheena. And, you know, she was a completely different Sheena. I know when we first met each other, like, there were so many things. We wrote about this in the book.
Yeah.
And, or we didn't. Oh, yeah, we did in the secret.
We did.
Ooh. Anyway, last year when we first met, Sheena and I were in two different places. We didn't know each other like we did now.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this moment like a year later.
Yeah.
And how you had about 80 pounds more of weight. Mm-hmm. Not that that mattered at all.
No. But it was just a different life.
To me or her or anyone. But like we had this like vulnerable moment where we're like, you asked me a question like, oh, do you think where I was at that time we would have been friends? And then it was like, I was like, well, you were a really great, like, wise woman, but I didn't know that we were going to be such close friends at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it could have just been the first encounter, but everything about both of us was different.
Yep.
And then a year later, you lost 80 pounds, and then you were talking about this journey, and I was kind of witnessing it in the peripherals.
Yep. This is the best you've ever explained it. This is so good. We're not sisters. Well, we are. Okay.
And I don't want to tell you the whole story because you got to read the book.
Yeah, you got to read it or listen to it. Seriously. It was a blast to write because the things that we keep finding out about each other together, separately, and then like as ourselves is so much.
Yeah.
Yay. So much.
Read the book, guys.
Read the book. Piss off, old paradigms. Okay. Revelations. That's you.
I don't know, but okay. My revelations, guys, is Woo!
Got the tings.
If you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to be able to roll with the punches and keep freaking going. And
Period.
you know, yeah, period.
Mhm.
I was having a conversation with someone yesterday who was like, look, I'm an entrepreneur. He was an entrepreneur, and he was like, I've had like different been in different places in my life where I've seen people make a choice not to like continue, right? And he was like, you have to be the one who keeps making that choice. And there's so many times where I doubt myself, and I'm like, I don't know, but I have to keep making the choice because that's what I really want. You know, that's my dream, and like. You know, even though it's such a scary time, like I'm gonna keep making that choice. So, yeah.
I respect you.
I appreciate it.
Hard. My revelation is that preparation is like essential to the kind of life I want to live. Like I've been seeing. So as you guys heard last week or at some point, I don't even remember when, talked about pittering. And someone was like, ah, ha, 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 it's not pittering, it's puttering. And I was like, well, no, as much as I appreciate the correction, I mean pittering. And so puttering, we know, is sort of a surface, putting things around, putting things together. But pittering, my friends, is when you like pull your space apart and rebuild it. And that's what I've been doing for the last little while. And I don't know if it's been like great for me or terrible for me. I feel good. I feel like I'm stepping into a new layer of myself. But in the pittering, there's been so much preparation. So like breakfasts are easier to be prepared. And you guys heard me talk about this at the beginning of the year. But like things just got so... So now they're like, that's my revelation.
That sounds so nice.
Yeah.
I like that. And the results are clear.
They're pretty clear.
Yeah. It's wonderful. We got a new wonderful backdrop. Like, what? Thank you, Pittering.
I love you, Valentine. That's good. Okay, so today we're talking about the death dialogue.
What's the death dialogue?
Okay, so I mean, I feel like if you watch the show, you know Papa died. This is like, I'm just recapping like we're on a sitcom or a show. L'émission, c'est quoi? I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't matter. That was a brief. You can press fast forward. I don't know what to do now. So after Papa died, I've been receiving so many wonderful like condolences and sorries and all of the stuff, you know, for which I'm grateful. For every single person that's reached out, every person that's been here. Like, I will keep shouting you guys out for life because I am realizing what this all means now, you know? Anyways, but one thing that I've noticed is our dialogue around death. Even the term death has this, like, vibration of finality. But what I've been finding is that it doesn't seem to be a final. It doesn't seem final, like him being gone. And then I'm scared to say that out loud, right? Because if I say it out loud, then people might think that I'm crazy. But I'm like, maybe I'm not. I don't know, all the things. But like, I would rather use another term other than death because that seems really useless.
So is it okay? But are you changing the language around death because you need to use another dialogue, or because you see death in a whole other way?
Both.
Oh.
So, like, every time I connect to death, I feel this. I mean, okay, so let me preface by saying I'm not sure if I would feel this anyway. But I wonder if, like, there's a process to grieving, you know? We know there's a process, and it seems to be a natural human thing to, like, have all these big feelings. But I wonder if they wouldn't have to live as long if the language that in my world we've always used was different. So instead of, you know what I mean? So instead of, like, oh, like, he died, he transitioned, I now feel like he's on the other side. And though I genuinely miss his physical presence, and there are moments where I just, like, bawl my eyes out. Like, that's happened, like, 4 times today already. What time is it? But then also there are these moments where I can, like, I can just call him and I feel that he's there. It sounds so, like,
I mean, it's definitely not something that everyone is going to connect to. I find that when you say it to me, it has to go through a few levels in my brain of processing till I can get to the point where, like, no, at the end of the day, you create this world, and what you see in your version of it is real. And so I've created my world in the same way where I can call out as easily to people. And so I can't see it. And so it takes me a few layers of processing to get to that realization in my brain.
Right, and without even the empirical experience. And so in that, I'm saying, like, now I feel like that's so much. But then it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what all of us think about it.
Doesn't matter at all.
Oh, this is a waste of a talk.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that. Oh, are we there?
No. What?
No, but even if we don't all end up seeing it that way, it's still such a valuable perspective for you to have.
I see you.
Yeah, and I want to hear all about it. I was like, wait, were we done? No, this isn't done.
I'm like, and we're done. No. Mona Lisa says, my revelation is platonic love is the best thing that has ever happened for us on earth. Yoga is amazing. I can appreciate that very much. No one dies, spirit stays, and story lives on. I want to talk to you about that. I heard you use transition the other day. Yep, we're going to talk about that in a sec. When somebody's body retires, their spirit is ascended, but they live on via people who they loved through memories, stories, you know? I talk to dead people, they talk to me. It's a deep realm to be. One must die and go and ego death in order to visit the realm of that. This is some deep shit. I'm like, here's the truth in the moment. I am scared to talk about it because I feel like you sound crazy and it's going to make me sound crazy, but you done know I'm with you, because where I'm at is I feel like I consistently talk to my like ancestors. I have a space for them in my house. I am glad for their presence. Do you guys have a space for them? Is it weird for you to see the space in my house?
No.
It's not a thing. Well, you're used to.
Yeah, I'm adaptable, and I've been around lots of like people who have altars and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't personally have one, but if I want to speak to my ancestors, I do a reading.
It's as simple as like, yeah.
Yeah, that's because I don't always trust the voices that I hear, and so I wouldn't be listening for voices even if they were trying to speak to me.
Right.
And I need to find other ways.
Okay, so I wonder this. I get that he has the opportunity to be in all the places all at once now, right? Like he can be with me and my brothers and my mom all at the same time right now. Is he around when I'm not thinking of him? Oh, he could do it all. So it doesn't really matter. The answer to that doesn't matter at all.
Well, I would think it's just, I don't know, but I would, in my vision, what I see, I always see things, is that he is everywhere because he's like spread amongst all the atoms and the particles, and so that he's able to be with you and over there and everywhere.
Oh, that was so much in that moment for me. 5 stages of grief: denial, anger. Oh, I'm definitely still in denial. I forget like every single minute that he died. Anger, bargaining. What does bargaining look like? Maybe I've been doing all of these. Depression, acceptance. I feel like I'm doing all of these like this. Yes, Black Star. Hey, what's up, Black Star? Glad to see you here. It's real. No, it's real story. No one cares. Just speaking your truth. Yep. I talk to my ancestors on the daily. It's deep. Open up about what you experience. I feel them watching me. Yeah. Papa is channeling through others, even through people who have touched, because you are 50% Papa. Yep. I feel that. And then there's another part too. He is sitting there in that room smiling. Okay, good. I actually figured that he might be. It's like, you know what's so much? Hey. All is everything. So, okay, so here's where I'm at. I like to use transition because I feel like the more I use words like that, the more I'm aware that he is with me all the time. But then I get confuddled in this thought of like, well, does that mean that I am expecting myself not to grieve, not to have these stages?
Well, what I read about and listen to in TED Talks is that we create our emotions. You know.
Whoa. You said this last week. I wanted to talk more about it.
Yeah. I mean, according to the TED Talk by a neurologist, human beings, they've searched the brain and they've done studies, and there's no spot in there that would be responsible for emotions. And so,
What? But then this means that we can self-master.
absolutely. And that's why, even though this morning I felt so sad that I wanted to cry, I went into the washroom and looked at myself and was like, I actually listened to what I was saying to myself in the mirror and told myself what I actually could say to make me feel better, and then I can come back.
Okay. So I hear that. And then I'm like, but what is the harm in... Oh, we're switching positions right now, right?
Yeah, I hear it.
Wild. No, but I'm like where you were, because I'm like, no, but you have to, like, you had the feeling,
Mm-hmm.
like it's the expulsion of the feeling that's important. Like for me to be like, oh, it's not strong of me to cry about my dad. Like fuck it, I don't feel that way. I feel like I bawl when I need to, the kids bawl when they need to, and then we come out the other end because that's what we have to keep doing.
Well, I didn't feel like, and I feel that's fair. That's totally fair way of seeing it, right? A way of expressing emotion, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
The way I see it in my head is like, I don't feel like I'm holding it in. I don't feel like I was trying to be strong. I felt like, what was I trying to achieve in the moment? Okay, I want to be happy. I want to feel good. You know, I want to be okay with other people making choices. You know. And that means if I have to go in the mirror and tell myself that, like, look, you're okay, you got this, you're strong.
Yeah.
And that stops me from crying. I feel like I'm not just, I'm not gonna cry because I'm trying to be strong. Like that was a real movement, you know, and shift in my body.
You are so cool. she is so cool. I feel like I re-fall in love with you on the show every time. I'm like, what? Is that my friend? Okay.
But letting it out is totally like
and
the
that's
right way.
So what you're saying, this is a different side of it all.
It's a different
and maybe all of it, because like so as soon like feelings come and then they go.
Yeah.
Right? And I think the thing is I got an email from an old client that was like, look, like let the feeling come, but don't save it too long. And I appreciate it. Like, you know, it just goes, and like I'm just trying to let it be strong, like when I'm giving birth. Mm-hmm. You know, like it will come and then it goes. Okay. So Mona Lisa says she didn't mean to scare us. Did you feel scared?
No,
not even for a second. But thank you for looking out for us. Then she says attachment is the cause of suffering. One must open up to death and allow it is a part of life. Yeah. Or if we could say one must open up to transition. It's like it seems to me that there's like in this thing, there's like. That's right, there's no words to use. We just transition from one zone to another, it seems.
And the interesting thing, I was watching the show the other day, and it was based on like the death card, the tarot or tarot card, and it was the symbol, and it was like, and the true meaning of that symbol is actually rebirth, like it's
because it's like this.
Yeah. Because when something dies or something restarts, you have a new, fresh
And like with Papa dying, my younger brother just had a baby on the 15th. My older brother had a baby on the 31st of October, and 2 of my sisters are pregnant. There's babies everywhere, which he loves. So I know he is doing lots for us in the spirit realm, and I'm very grateful. Mm-hmm. Case, this makeup, whoop whoop. Those eyes and the hair, I love these looks. You make it most suit you best. She is amazing. She really is amazing. Platonic love, when people start shifting into many will heal. Can't believe I missed part of this. I'm late. What up, Shalika? Healing is non-linear. Okay, I can appreciate that thought very much. I love tarot cards. Ego must die for us to rebirth. I see. Okay, here's where I'm at with that. I don't agree. If we are all saying that death and die is potentially words that are not helping us live the best life we can live, then if we say death is or ego needs to die, I don't think it needs to. It needs to transition. There needs to be a wisdom about our ego.
Well, it depends on how we're interpreting death. Like with the tarot card,
okay.
It's meant to also signify that life is starting, and that's what it just says death. But when you look into the meaning of it, it means that like this particular thing is ending and something else is starting anew. And that's the true meaning of it.
Point.
So it's either we can relook at the word itself or we can actually use a different word. And I take your perspective on it sometimes, especially with the word love. I don't like to use the word love because I feel like it's a blanket statement for so many other pieces of things
that could be missing potentially in the whole thing.
Exactly. So maybe the word death is like that. Like death is being used to just signify this,
so many, too many things. Yeah. Okay, so let's break it down then. I'm cool with transitioning, and for Mona Lisa, I want to say, like, I don't know that I agree. What I have learned so far on this planet is that my ego it guides me physically. My spirit guides me spiritually. And so I do think that, like, I need to tame my ego and be wise with it. It's not that I'm saying it needs to be this unruly mess of a show. But what I am saying is that it is essential that I know how to navigate this physical world. like financially, emotionally, physically. There's so many layers to it.
I disagree though.
Oh.
I mean, I just wouldn't call what guides my physical, my ego.
What guides it?
All of it.
Okay, let's define ego then, because this is where we're at an impasse.
Yeah, my mind, which I think is different than my ego. My mind, my body, and my spirit.
So your ego is a blanket statement for all of the things?
No.
Okay.
My ego is in my mind. It's part of my mind. It's one of the factors that inform my mind. And the other factor might be reasoning. Yeah.
So do you feel that we need to transition our egos or let them die to be real?
No, never. If that's something that's come in us, then I would only assume that we'd have to balance it. I know you don't like that word.
No, but I'm down with what you're saying. Like, let it be like...
Yeah, let the two come together. And the other side might not be reasoning. The other side might be something else I don't, like the ego.
Yeah.
And then the other self is like, I don't know, love, passion, and I'm not sure. But
I don't know.
To come together and be
and it would have to shift it, like, in every given situation.
Sure.
Is the next piece.
Sure.
Okay, I see that. All right.
Harmonious with each situation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But then also with the understanding that it's okay that when it's not.
I mean, that's part of learning in life.
Yeah. Okay, death is a must happen. Death isn't bad. Build a new relationship with the word. It's just a word, Sheena. Yeah, I know, but I do think that language is important. I think that it's important that we change the way that we talk about things. It could change the way our children see
things.
And
who said it's just a word, Mona Lisa?
Yeah.
Mona Lisa, when we talked about names, you said names were very, very powerful and had a lot of meaning, so I want you to think about that. Think about it.
Memories are real events that have happened. So when we remember, those people are still with us. For example, people that experience trauma know how real memories are. Positive memories hold the same. Okay, break that down a little, because I hear the stuff, but break it down a little further, because I want to know what you're actually saying. Black Star says, I agree with your view of transition, as it allows us to learn, grasp, and handle death in a better way. We attribute death, dying, with pain rather than course of life. It's always happening, but we are never prepared. Is it because we don't allow ourselves to? Denial? Okay, I want to talk about that. Actually, I'm going to talk about it before I read on.
Sure, yeah.
Because I've been thinking the same thing, that we don't allow ourselves to be prepared for it. And I think, I don't know for sure, but lately it's been seeming like my younger brother and I and his wife and our children and my mom have been, like, learning this lesson that, like, sometimes... No, all of us are going to die, so while we're here, let's, like, really be a part of each other's lives. Like, let's make it a priority to be a part of each other's lives. So, like, and now I've realized, like, every person in my world, like, that I appreciate the moments with, like, I need to tell them, like, I love you so much.
I love you too.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if I were to go tomorrow, if I were to transition tomorrow, you would be like, the last thing Sheena said to me was, because that's the last thing my dad said to me, I love you. So I'm like, you know what? I do, and I don't know that it's denial. I think it's our language that makes us not understand the truth of the thing. Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I heard I'm always listening to something. All my things are based off of stuff that I listen to.
That's cool.
I was listening to this series on like joy and it was on joy and kindness. And one man he did was go on a quest to thank everyone who was involved in getting in his morning coffee.
Oh my god!
And it went from obviously the cashier at the register, the barista, to the person who drives the truck, to the person who paves the road the truck is driven on. And he called everybody just to say like, thank you so much.
Why am I gonna ball right now?
And I needed to hear that because he was like, before I just was ungrateful about everything, but when I took the time to think about how much work it takes to get something as simple as my coffee, I started seeing another perspective. And he was like, you really have to train yourself to see that perspective of love, and kindness, because it doesn't come if you don't look for it. To most people, we seem to have developed this default of ingratitude, right?
Whoa.
So for you to say that like your family has turned on that light of love, that's beautiful.
It's hella dope.
Definitely.
I feel very grateful. Ego is the body. Yes, we must detach ourselves from the ego being anything. It's just a part of you responsible for making shit work through. Okay. Case is touching on something I am receiving here. Ego is just as sinful as pride, in my opinion. I don't agree with you. Names are serious. It's identity. Death is a part of the cycle of life. The word has made us fear death, but it simply means something new for us. I see where you're coming from regarding the language. Very insightful. Thank you. Something to look into and understand. Cool. I'm glad. Our language is a part of the denial. Yeah, it is experienced both internally and manifested in the words we use. They are joined. And this is where I'm coming from.
But I also feel like that we use the word death because it's a part of, maybe, I could be wrong, of the religious like teachings of it.
Oh, maybe like
perhaps.
A Judeo-Christian, because that's what our English language is like inundated with.
Yeah.
So then I'm wondering, then can we not make a ploy to because I often speak about Papa transitioning. I have an altar in my home for Papa and my grandparents. And I don't really mince words when I talk about the things that I feel that he's doing for me. But I've had a few people in my home over the last little while, they're like, what? Overwhelmed. But I am intentionally using language like this because one, I need my babies, my babies and me to feel like he's still around, because physically it's overwhelming that he's not. It's like I'm like, oh my God, my whole life was wrapped around my father. And now I'm like, I have to my father and my children. And now I'm wondering who is Sheena really then? I have to elevate to another layer of myself, because otherwise then it would have been in vain. Or am I just being dramatic? Because what does it mean in vain then? Because that would assume that would presuppose that death is wrong, and death is not wrong.
It's however you see it.
But okay, so then here's my next part about it, is the trauma. The trauma of the transition for me has been so much. I guess my question is, are trauma and death, do they equate?
I don't know, but I can imagine that if someone in my world died, I wouldn't have the exact same reaction as you.
Fair, like none of us do.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that leads me to think that it's not necessarily traumatic for every person.
Fair. Or they wouldn't use the term.
Yeah, but it can definitely be extremely traumatic for some people.
It's so weird because I didn't use the word until someone said it to me. This is the trauma that you've just undergone is probably going to weigh in your head. And so a part of me is did they just put a magic spell on me and make me think that? And part of me is did they just give me information that I didn't have before? Because when Papa died, it was quite traumatic for my children and I. And it does play over in my mind. I'll be somewhere and it'll just pop up, right? And then the other part that feels so traumatic for me is how out of control I was of my response. Like that makes me frazzled, but I'm working on like just allowing that to be. Oh, okay, so stopping, it seems to me that stopping trauma would circumvent our will to become greater. Not that I'm saying that we should intentionally cause trauma, but that when trauma occurs, it can be utilized to develop a stronger will.
I don't know.
Okay.
I have a very I really don't like the word trauma in my mind.
Oh, tell me what it brings up. I feel the vibe.
In my mind, it's the inability to process and deal with the situation that has happened that creates trauma.
Okay, say that. Give me an example.
Like, okay, if a rape,
Okay.
I was raped.
Yep.
We all know this on the show.
Yep.
And for me to say that I suffer from trauma now, in my mind, would mean that I haven't healed from that rape. I haven't let myself deal with it and process it and release it. And now I'm living in that traumatic situation. And there was a time where if I look into the history of it, I could be like, oh my God, that was such a traumatic experience. Because in the moment, I was like, I hadn't dealt with it. It was impossible to deal with it in that moment.
In the moment, yeah.
Yeah, it was a traumatic experience. But am I suffering from
Are you
trauma?
still? Is it still triggering you?
Am I still traumatized? No.
Which means okay. So, but what you're referring to though is post-traumatic stress disorder.
No, I don't feel like.
So then, no. But then, at what point does like at what point does it turn into post-traumatic stress disorder? From like, okay, Papa died like almost a month ago. Pardon me. So what does that like?
How I've seen post-traumatic stress disorder manifest is a prolonged period of
acceptance of the trauma.
No, of like stress. Like people very close to me have a couple people have PTSD in my life.
Yeah.
And they all the things that they have in common is they don't feel like they can work. They don't feel like they can accomplish things. Like they have like a internalized depression. And this is just from the people that I've seen in my life who are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. They have like their life is fundamentally changed forever. Like this is always going to be there with them, weighing them down, and then it prevents them from doing a lot of things in their life.
But do you believe that? Like part of me feels like there's nothing that they could do, but they would have to have the will to do it.
They have to have
And that's the shit.
Yeah.
I hate that one. Mona Lisa says, I love that you recall about names. Language is important. We must allow death. It is just a part of the life cycle because people recycle. It's called reincarnation. Ian says, part of the growth in life is to sit in discomfort. There is beauty in this. To use the word death and sit in it as part of the fullness of life. Embrace it. Okay, I can take that in. Do you have videos? This is a way to keep hearing the voices keeping around. Trauma is a part of life. Trauma is painful. It is emotion. It passes. The brain is a powerful tool. Where am I? Do you see it?
Go on. Yeah, there.
The key to trauma is to talk to it. Hey, trauma, I see you. You are here. I have noticed. I will allow you and let you pass. Please go in peace. I deserve peace. Healing is not linear. Ascension happens when the ego dies and that's associated with trauma. Okay. Black Star says, this is the beauty of human nature though. We all have our own ways of understanding this topic, and you ladies discussing this is great for us to learn just how we react to loved ones dying. It's very therapeutic because some people are deeply affected by it, trauma. Your relationship with your dad was meant to happen, and so your ways of dealing with it is custom fitted for you. It's a part of your story. As long as we don't allow it to overtake our happy space in our life's journey. Exactly. Talking about your dad as if he was still here works for you. and it shows everyone how to live without it overbearing your future. Yeah, okay. I have PTSD about something in my life. I breathe through it. Yoga and praying. Yeah, yes, 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 yes. It's so tricky, right? Because it does seem to me that like we're all here, and those of us who call each other into each other's lives are meant to have that, right? For however long it lasts. And but the thing is that all of our experiences are so different that sometimes it seems like futile to even have conversations. Do you know?
Yeah, but then.
Oh, but that presupposes we'd have to come to.
No, but then you learn things. I think that's the point.
Okay,
You get
okay.
to pick and choose what you like and what you don't like
Point.
based on different people's perspectives. Like, there's a lot of things that I've learned by listening to you or seeing from your world that I didn't even know were realities.
Mm-hmm.
Like, after school, you know, having activities with your kids every day, or like, you know, or yeah, or you just like different mom things that you do. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing that moms can do. Like, it's funny that when you don't see things, you don't even know their possibilities until you see them, and you're like, oh my god, that was an option for life. Okay, I'm gonna choose that one.
That's a really good one. You're right. You're right. And like, if you guys ever saw me before with like Punctuation Thursdays or any other writing aerobics, like I didn't wear any makeup or look so fancy. And then Casey was like, "So look."
I did not give you. I've
So
consciously avoided ever mentioning that she should ever need to wear
No,
makeup.
but you know what? She's helped me. Like, well, exactly. You didn't have to say it. I just felt like, oh, I'm gonna sit beside this beautiful woman. I need to like buck up. So I like put tutus on. You know what I mean?
I do really love your lipstick today. I was
Thanks.
like,
I was like, she's gonna be so proud of me. Ian says PTSD represents or presents in other problematic behaviors. Trauma can be healed or unhealed. Okay. We are co-creating and coexisting. We all need each other. Platonic love is deep. Appreciate it. Shalika, what are you laughing at? You look fancy as hell now. Hey, you're getting there. Hey, Angela. Hey, ladies. Love you gals and hearing your thoughts. Here's one of mine. I think death is dealt with so differently by each person depending on their worldview. Some people celebrate death because they believe that to die is to gain. They grieve their loss of that person. Ongoing may never end. But celebrate they are in the spirit. They are in spirit in a better place and hope to meet again. Praying for you, Sheena, and miss you. I appreciate that, and actually, I have goosebumps because I resonate with that statement. And Angela has always been like so, like, remarkably insightful when it comes to these things. I really appreciate that, Ange. Thanks for weighing in. Black Star says, yes, communication is so key. People need to converse with each other. Each one teach one is the key. It's our purpose to progress as humans. You teach others, and in turn, they are teaching us. So appreciative of this. Thank you. Yeah. This is lots. Well, we did have a celebration of life.
Yeah.
So I do feel like we do celebrate him.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, watching the kids put food on his altar, or like, they're just so, it's pretty special because like Papa is still very much a part of our world. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you want to summarize what new things have come to your mind after this discussion?
Yeah, I think okay, so here's where I'm at. That I'm going to continue using the words transition and celebration, and I will use the term death with the overstanding that death means rebirth.
Mm.
And I will allow myself to bawl my eyes out when I need to, and then get my mind back together. And I won't rush it. Whatever that means. Seems time doesn't make any sense at all. Where are you with it?
With what? The conversation?
Where'd she go?
For me, I like to think that these are opportunities, like when you lose someone that you really love, or like when I do that, then I know that like I want to honor life. I want to honor living, and I want them to know that like every other step that I take is gonna be on purpose because your life mattered to me, and you've shown me like a wisdom that I need to like live better, and I know how I can do that.
Shit.
And so I want to like identify one thing for that person because I don't want to.
I love that you do that.
And be better in that area for that person. And every time I want to revert back to my old me, I'll be like, you know what, like Papa played such a big role in my life, and he was just always so carefree, and he didn't stress all the time. Like, let me just let go of that stressing thing so I can like be more like present and just funny and in the moment, and that's what I want to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
You asked me the day of if I have something to like change my life about, but I know it now, and it's order. I want to be an ordered woman. So any space I'm in, it is ordered, so that I can reach to the left and grab my mug, I can reach to the right and grab my cloth, and I know where everything is because things flow better with order. Everyone's telling us that they love us, and I want to say like, we love you guys. Like, this is real, man.
Yeah.
We love you guys so much.
Yeah, we do.
I'm so grateful for this, and it's obviously therapeutic.
But I want to share with them a little bit of the dilemma.
Share away.
Because the show, we've been doing it almost every single day, and it takes a huge chunk of time, and we're not always in the same space, and we have two different lives. So, you know, for me now, like to come down here, I'm like,
it's so much.
It's gonna become a lot as I like, you know, focus more on what I need to do. And so I'm like, in my head I was like, you know what? I love the show because it's an opportunity to grow as a human, and you know, hopefully the show will grow. But what I'm finding right now is like, yes, our natural numbers before we share it like on Facebook have been growing, but it's not growing like that. Not growing like fast enough to see.
Yeah, to warrant.
Yeah, to see that like maybe we can like make this like a side hustle, and we have like a Patreon page, or maybe we put it on YouTube and we get like enough followers to make money from it. Like, I just don't know where to go with that part of it. So if you guys have tips, like if you would watch us on YouTube, let me know. I'll take the clips and edit them, and it's gonna be extra time, but
maybe we don't need to edit it though. Just let's do it live on YouTube.
So we're live on YouTube today. Well, we have nobody watching from YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I guess we could, but like, you guys please tell us.
Yeah, would you jump onto YouTube?
Or like, how do we make this thing not like it already worth the time?
No, but I mean, like financially, it's not.
So.
But humanly, it is. So consistency is key. Yeah, I mean that's not been the thing for us other than head on, but. Yeah, I think
consistency isn't the key.
That's not the key we need right now.
What we need to know is like, where do you like watching, and would you support us if we were on a different platform, or would you support us by either moving to YouTube and watching us, or like paying a monthly like subscription fee to a channel if we like promise you to do better shows. I don't know. Like, just tell us all the thoughts.
Black says, for my part, I will do what I can to share you ladies' show, support each other, and I would watch you there and share it daily. Respect.
Oh, that means so much. That's really big.
They're all saying once a week.
Once a week.
And they loved watching us on IG too. Okay. Fair.
Yeah.
I mean, then we get to expel, we get to partake in you guys, and then we can put it on YouTube, and we'll just like keep shouting you guys out. Like, how will you know? I guess we'll just share the links on Facebook.
Yeah.
Duh. Solution sought. Yes, we support.
All right. Thank
you guys. All right. So make sure you go grab the book, Piss Off Old Paradigms. Listen to the Bookcast on Spotify or Apple iTunes.
And we'll see you maybe next week.
Yeah. And I'm trying to start a new trend, like before I leave any being, so the last thing they hear is that that they know that I think they're great. And I want to shout out everybody: Mona Lisa, Ian, Shalika, Angela, Blacks. Who else was on here? Did I miss anybody?
Bailey, Ian.
Yes, Ian. Like, really, really love you guys. Appreciate your support and your time and your engagement because you're helping us grow so much.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you guys.